I am so freaking excited, and you should be too, because SunnySide, a JRPG farm sim, just released a new gameplay trailer with so much new content that it's basically a completely different game than the one we've seen so far, and for so many good reasons. I don't typically do gameplay trailer breakdowns, but oh my goodness, is this one an exception. I'm going to start off by letting you watch the entire 1-minute trailer, and then we'll talk about all the exciting new stuff afterwards. One word of warning though, as you watch the footage, the NPC models are getting completely overhauled, so if you think they stick out a bit compared to everything else, well, you're not alone, and the devs are working on fixing just that. Without droning on any further, that'll make sense in just a sec, here it is. Do you see why I'm so excited now? The amount of new mechanics and features shown off in that single minute of footage is unreal, which also happens to be the name of the engine the game is being made in. Fun fact. We've heard mentions of some of these features in the past, but this is our first time seeing them. First off, drones. We've always had the ability to use a drone to take photos, drop waypoints, and place blueprints on the farm, but that's not where that feature list ends, apparently. Not only can you customize their looks with different skins that could be unlocked through various arcade games in town, but you can also add charms to them, like this cute little chicken charm here, and even upgrade them. I'm not sure what upgrades there will be, but I have a guess that some of those will give you benefits when you race your drone. Because yes, they've apparently added drone racing into the game, complete with rings to pass through for a momentary speed boost, checkpoint rings that you have to hit, position and lap info, and a course map. You'll be able to race against other NPCs, and keeping in mind that SunnySide will be multiplayer, yeah. This is gonna be fun. It looks like they've also added a scanning setting with the drone, so for my fellow collectors and completionists out there, you'll be happy to know that you can scan different creatures and try to 100% your collection. I love this because instead of just mindlessly running from point A to B, maybe from the farm to the shop and pack, I'm now going to be scanning the environment as I go, looking for any critters I've yet to spot. And of course, soaking up the beautiful Japanese countryside in the process. Next up, we have a new location, the city. In addition to being able to see it peeking over the mountains from the main town, you can actually travel there. A few of the main villagers, Kat and Natalie for example, currently attend the local university in the nearby city. So instead of just abstractly mentioning the city, you can actually visit there. We have no idea how large it will be, but it looks really nice, and seeing the amount of love and effort they've poured into making the town representative of the actual Japanese countryside, I'm sure the city will be just as well thought out, and to say that I'm excited to explore it would be an understatement. This is a smaller one, but it also appears they've updated the name of the text messaging app on your phone to Squirrel IM or Instant Messenger, both because of the acorn logo used throughout the game, and squirrels love acorns, but also because, ooh, squirrel moments. You know what I'm talking about. And speaking of, might I bring your attention to the adorable profile pictures they've added next to each villager when they text you? So cute. Next up, we have the literal skill tree, which is located in the shrine. This massive oak tree will serve as the game's skill tree, and fortunately for us, we get to see some details of it. First off, it's divided into two branches, or limbs as they're calling them, resource gathering and farming, though I imagine there will be more than two eventually. Before selecting a branch, you can see that our character is at level 9, which means there's character levels, and within the farming branch, you can see that the farming branch is at level 12, with some skills requiring a certain level in that branch before they can be unlocked. In the bottom left, we have our skill points, and in this case, we have 9 available skill points to spend. Skill points are acquired by simply doing your normal daily tasks in this case, farming or resource gathering areas to unlock skill points in the corresponding area. The skills that are shown here are Crop Vision 1, see the current state of your crops, Green Thumb 1, a 25% chance to double the harvest of a crop, and Field Hands, digging a crop plot takes half the time, which if you've ever dug a massive farm area in this game, you know that takes quite a while. And if you slow things down and take it frame by frame, you'll see 2 additional skills that I don't even think they meant to highlight. Arbor Eyes 2, see how many days are left to fruit on all trees, and Tree Whisperer 3, 100% chance to double the harvest of a tree. For those of you wondering, you will not be able to unlock every single skill on the skill tree in one playthrough, so choose your skills wisely based on what you plan on focusing on. They have, however, teased the idea of a new Game Plus mode, allowing you to start over but retain your skill tree progress, or at least your skill points, in which case you would then be able to 100% the skill tree. Before we talk about the last and most exciting thing introduced, please don't forget to leave a like if you're as excited as I am for SunnySide. Please and thank you. Alright, last but not least, Combat the Ancients and more details on the battle system. We've known that SunnySide will have turn-based combat for a while now, but this was the very first of it we've seen, and as someone who grew up playing Pokemon as a kid, as I'm sure many of you did as well, the look of this combat system very much appeals to me. First up, meet the Ancients, or in other words, the creatures/monsters in the game. They live in the caves, and instead of just being mobs to defeat, they're an integral part of the story. So much so that the dev team brought on board a linguist a while back to create a custom language just for them, which you'll be able to decipher bits and pieces of as you play the game. They're not all bad though, as Sparky, the robot companion that will accompany you throughout the game, is also an ancient. Unlike in Pokemon though, you won't be fighting with specific movesets, but instead with a deck of cards. There will be 2 different types of cards, as well as animal clay bells and charms that will all play into the combat system. For cards, there will be Ofuda, or attack cards, and Omikujis, or buff/debuff cards. Both of these can be purchased in card packs, just like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards could at an actual card store, using in-game money only. No microtransactions here. You can then open up those card packs to get several cards at a time, of which there are a lot, and they differ in quite a few ways. For the Ofuda, the most obvious difference is their element, indicated by the background of the card. From left to right, we have water, earth, air, and fire, the 4 elements in SunnySide. Each card can then have a variety of stats, indicated by the circular symbols in the upper left corner of each card. The first indicates whether it's a single target attack, indicated by the single dot, or a multi-target attack, indicated by the 5 dots. Below that is the attack multiplier, and for the most common tier of cards, these will almost always be 1, as you see here. After that are going to be any special effects. Examples of this are multi-action, where the ability repeats for 3 to 5 times consecutively, burning, which deals fire damage over time, stun, which prevents your opponents from taking 1 to 2 turns, and so on. The other type of card are Omikujis, or buff/debuff cards. We hardly know anything about these other than that they will, well, provide buffs to your team and debuffs to your opponents. Think attack up, defense down, things like that. What makes this system into something other than a deck builder, though, is the fact that cards have a limited number of uses. Not just in that battle, but period. Once used, they're gone, and for good. Most cards can only be used once, but depending on the quality of the card, this can increase. Card quality is indicated by the material it's made of. paper, cloth, wood, as we see here, metal, and gemstone, with higher quality cards affecting things like attack multipliers, the number of uses the card has, and more, adding a level of strategy to the fights by saving certain powerful cards for more difficult enemies, perhaps even bosses, which, yes, will exist. And even though this isn't technically a deck builder per se, you will still have to determine what cards to take with you into the mines. There's a separate part of your inventory called the Battle Pack. In this, 24 different slots can be filled with various cards and then be played in battle. Any cards outside of this specific part of your inventory will be inaccessible during combat. These cards will stack, but as I mentioned earlier, due to the sheer amount of cards there are in the game, the odds of you having a huge stack of one card are very, very rare. In addition to the two different types of cards, we also have animal clay bells and charms known as Dorai and Omamori respectively, which will give certain large-scale effects, like resistance against all fire-based attacks, for example, for the entire time they're equipped. These are not one-time use like the cards are, and since there will be no armor or clothing that gives combat stats, only clothing for cosmetic purposes, these will effectively serve that purpose. There's also so much more to learn about the combat system, but they've intentionally kept the entire system close to their chest so that we as the players can experience it firsthand for ourselves. They are incredibly proud of the system they've built and cannot wait for us to get our hands on it and try it out. And I have to say, I can't wait either. Needless to say, I'm more excited than ever for SunnySide. If this is your first video to see on the game, I've got an entire playlist of videos on it to help you get hyped for this game and learn all about what it is, what it has to offer, and how it truly is one of a kind. Links to SunnySide's Discord server, Steam page, and website are all down below as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this new trailer though, as it completely changed the landscape for what we can expect from this game. I hope you enjoyed this deeper look at it, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me get overly excited for SunnySide. My name's DoctorDDub, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, as always, take care.